When you're considering your table tennis equipment, we always talk about your table tennis bat and the balls, and we also talk about the tables. But one thing that is often overlooked is the table tennis net. With these older type of nets, you can make some adjustments, but as you can see, it's quite a floppy sort of net. If the ball hits the net, it's going to dribble over a lot of the time. And sometimes even if it hits the middle of the net, it dribbles over. And we've all seen those nets that we've played with at clubs and at schools. You can adjust this slightly so you can pull it tighter. So that's what you're really looking for. You're looking for the net to be really tight and not allow the ball to just dribble over when it hasn't hit near the top of the net. The other thing that some nets come with are these strings that go through the net, and being able to tension that is also another way of improving the quality of the net that you're playing with. But these old ones, very limited in how much you can do as far as keeping the net height correct and keeping the tension correct on the net as well. What does a better net look like? Firstly, the clamp system is a little bit better. So here, this one has a clamp system where you're winding the clamp up, which gets a nice firm attachment to the table. The other things that are really important here are the height adjustment. So underneath here on this one, there is a little height adjustment screw that when you turn it, it changes or lifts the height of the net. So that's going up, or you can go down. And the final feature of this is the tensioner. So this one here, you can tighten or loosen the string that goes through the top of the net, again, to get a nice tension at the top of the net. So it stops those balls from hitting the middle of the net and going over. This is pretty easy to attach to the table. We just slide the clamp onto the table, and underneath we tighten that screw as we saw before. And now that is nice and firmly attached to the table. We can go around to the other side and do the same. So attach it to the table, it's nice and firm. And there you can see now that that net is quite well tensioned. I can again adjust that tensioner to make it a little bit tighter. And I can adjust the height of the net to just make sure it's correct. Most good nets will come with a net measurer. So what that does is it just sits on top of the net, and it needs to sit where it is quite flush to the net. So you can see there that that is dangling, so that means that it's up a little bit too high. So I need to adjust the height of the net by bringing it down fractionally. And once I do that, then you can see that it's sitting nicely on the table there, which means that the net is at a good height. Getting your net right in your training environment is really important. If you are training at home or in your club and the net is at that height and you're practicing your serving and you're practicing trying to keep that ball nice and low and short with your pushing, and then suddenly you get to the tournament and the net is the correct height, you're going to be hitting the ball into the top of the net on your serves or on your short pushing. So really important, get your net height right. Another difference between the cheaper nets and the better nets is that the cheaper nets tend to be quite hard and inflexible. So that's made of almost a plasticky type of material. Whereas the better nets, you can see, has a bit of stretch in them. So that just stops the ball from dribbling over the net as easily. These are the things I want you to look for when you are selecting your net. The first one is a nice solid clamp that's going to stay on the table. The second thing is the ability to adjust the height of the net. This one has a little screw at the bottom where you can move the net post up and down slightly. And the third one is the ability to tension the net. That will give you a nice net height that is going to be consistent, and when you get to your tournament, you're going to be playing under the same conditions.